Welcome, guys. Welcome to the pod. We just kind of like had a mini podcast for a few minutes there, like without recording, but welcome. I appreciate you guys being patient while Gio and I set up. It takes a little while as we're getting used to the new space. So
no, it's cool. I think it's a learning curve for us as well. So,
yeah,
I mean, we're just kind of spectating.
Yeah,
and there's plenty of cool stuff here.
You're right. Yeah, so you were busy taking a little lap around here. Yeah. So, let me introduce you guys. So, Ron, How do I pronounce your last name? Because I butchered Jason Piazza. I still butcher his last name.
So, it's Derderian.
Damn it, I was going to try it before you told. But go ahead, say it again.
So, it's Ron Derderian.
Okay.
39-year-old white guy.
Okay, all right. And Sean Briggs. I know, yours is a little bit easier. Okay. I called him Rob for the first, few conversations.
You still should.
Oh, see. All right. He gave me the go-ahead, so. Welcome, guys. Appreciate you guys taking the long ride out on this Patriots loss Sunday. Team fucking sucks, bro.
You still pay attention to it?
They're so bad.
I think COVID ruined all sports for me.
It's sad when your team's only saving grace is that they have a good social media team and that they can post funny stuff. But then on Sunday, it's like every comment is like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's the worst. All right. So, Ron, you started Worcester Wheels and Coffee.
So the easiest way to jump into it is me and Sean have both been in the Worcester car scene forever, right? Like we used to cruise Main Street, Worcester, Friday, Saturday nights. It was always cool, ridiculous stuff going on. And then Worcester PD was like, no more. And they shut it down. So then we got a bit older and we're like, there's nothing in Worcester for us that we want to go to. Right. There's nothing that I'm excited about going to. I know there's a couple of random events, but it's nothing. It's just not our style or kind of what we're into. And realistically, we're like, how do we bring back something? Post COVID, there was nothing going on in the city. Cars and coffee were getting bigger, and it was like, how do we make this happen? It was actually a giant pain in the ass because every coffee shop's like, I don't know, because years ago, Chris Cavalieri used to run Cars and Coffee on Shrewsbury Street in Worcester at In-House. In-House changed ownership during COVID. They wanted nothing to do with it. So we ended up at Fuel, and Nilu and company have been super accommodating. They were like the idea of it, and it's a cool space. Anyone who's seen our posts and Sean's videos,
so cool.
It makes up for a really cool environment. So really, it was just creating a space that I would want to go to. And it turned into something that seems like it just won't stop growing.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch. It's interesting how you said it came about. So, I'm going to go back even further. And I want to ask both of you some of these same questions. But, how did you even get into cars to begin with? What did it come from?
So for me, I went to Bay Path in Charlton, took automotive.
Oh, it was
it's a vocational high school.
Yep.
So I did the automotive thing till I was 21. When the big crash came in 2008 and all the dealerships closed, my childhood friends were in drag racing. We're in New England Dragway every weekend. Yep. He still has the Nova that he had back then. He brings it to our events now, which is cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Shout out Nick Daigle. Didn't think I'd do that today. But it's just cool because it comes full circle. But that's where the car thing came from. And I was always a OEM plus guy. I never wanted to half-ass things. I always wanted things to be nice and well put together. And I still have that mentality today.
Can tell.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a hater at times. There's some self-reflection on that. Yeah. But again, me and Sean were talking about that on the way out here. Things that are normal today and in the scene, okay, you got made fun of for doing 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was
the term ricer was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's whatever.
Semi-popularized.
Right.
Yeah.
It's become semi-normal.
Yeah.
And I still call me old and begrudging, I guess, but I'm just nah.
Yeah, not your thing. I totally understand it. I get it. Yeah. You and I actually have similar understanding. Like we've had some conversations through text about like different car culture things, and like we have similar like outlooks, but we kind of operate in adjacent areas, and I don't know how to explain that well, but like there's a lot of cars that you have. There's a lot of cars that would be at both of our events. There's some cars that would be at your events that probably wouldn't be at mine, and then there's some at mine that wouldn't be at yours.
Yeah,
100%.
Not for any specific reason. Like they're welcomed at both, right? But it's just like, and it's weird how like these like pockets kind of form, not on purpose, but
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like one thing that we do is our shows are 8 to 10, and the whole thing is we wanted to keep. It's gonna sound bad, but wanted to keep the Worcester out of Worcester. Like we wanted to make something that was a good event that would last, that would be quality, and people would be okay with showing up with an expensive car and be comfortable and create that safe space. You know, Worcester has a weird takeover community that's out causing mayhem. There's a bunch of rest this summer, a whole bunch of stuff. We're not part of that. We don't want anything to do with that. You want to leave spicy, have at it. It's a public street. It's at your own risk. It is what it is. But as far as like the actual like people we bring in, like, I mean, it was like our third event, and we had a guy show up with a 1,800-mile Ford GT5 or GT, and we're like,
5
yeah,
generation,
the best generation.
it's perfect. And we're like, holy shit,
that's crazy.
Like, what the hell? And the guy's like, oh, I just bought it from Meacham, and we're like, where'd you come from?
Yeah, that's cool though.
You know,
right? That's
like,
awesome. That
you just stuff that like as car guys that like the one of the downfalls of doing events is you don't even get to take in some of the coolness at times. And when you just get a chance to actually look what shows up, like our last Cars and Coffee, we had 3,000 horsepower Corvettes show up, like, and you're just
that's
like,
nuts.
What the hell? Where'd they come from?
Yeah, it's cool.
Like,
it's cool that you guys can bring out cars. That's my favorite events are the ones that bring out cars that like you typically don't see. And at the same time, like most of those owners I found are not people that are like they know they have great cars, but they are not cocky about it. So like perfect example, Gio, is Danny.
Oh yeah.
Danny has how much horsepower does that thing make? 700 all-wheel drive 700 horsepower Civic. You've probably seen it on our page a little bit recently. Super humble, he's not hot-headed, he doesn't go to events to act like a dickhead. He just wants to be in the community. So
he builds something and wants to go somewhere,
right?
show it
Yeah,
off,
and he doesn't, but he also isn't like chasing shows every weekend, right? So that's the kind of person similar to that, where like they pick and choose their events. Cars are important to them, but it's not their personality. So he's not just like every weekend cars. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll pop out to this. This is cool. This seems like a great event. I'll come by.
yeah, and I think that's a lot of our people that show up regularly, because it's like they're there for an hour and a half, and they're like, oh, got to get my kid to soccer practice, got to go mow the lawn, whatever it is for the rest of the day. And that's one of the reasons. The other reason why we do them early, because you have your whole day left, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can. It's Sunday. Like a lot of times we leave Worcester Wheels and go to another car event. Or like us do that as friends just so we can enjoy it. So that's always an entertaining thing.
It's cool. Yeah. Sean, what about you?
As far as getting into cars,
Yeah, how did you get into cars?
so I was put onto cars from my dad.
Okay.
Basically, it was given kind of carrot on a stick, like do well in school and I'll buy a cool car.
Sweet.
I did horribly in school, never got the car. But that kind of solidified cars is the cool thing that I wanted to do.
Okay.
In high school, became friends with all the car dudes.
Yep.
And we had, back in, 2002, 2003, 4, in that era, like we had an 11-second Nissan 200 SX that like we rolled the streets of Worcester, like street racing, the slicks on the front.
That's
like,
great.
That kind of thing. So I've always been started out with JDM stuff and American stuff.
Yep.
And it's just kind of grown to liking everything.
When did you kind of slide into media?
So my grandfather did it as a hobby, did photography as a hobby.
I got it.
I got my first camera when I was like, around 12.
What was
13
it?
years old.
What was it?
It's a Minolta XG7.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't really bullshit.
no.
It was legit. Okay, because
No.
you know everybody's origin. I had a Sony Cybershot. It was my first camera. My sister was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, "I kind of want a camera."
I literally 2 weeks ago bought film for it. It's a film camera.
Holy shit!
So I bought film for it and started shooting it. I was gonna bring it with me I want to empty a roll. I don't even know if the thing works.
Was it his?
It was his. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you still have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Wow,
just started
that's
shooting with it
cool.
again. Yeah.
That's really
I'm
cool.
excited to see
Yeah,
how it comes out.
that's
It's probably
awesome.
gonna be horrible because it's film.
Either
you
way,
can't you can't
yeah,
tell.
yeah. But you'll learn,
Yeah.
and there's family history in it, so
Yeah.
you don't have to be
Yeah.
you don't have to be great at it, but
Right.
it's cool that you
I
still
just
have
do
it.
it. That side of things is just for me to be able to do something.
Yeah,
Because when you do it full time for a living, you kind of
Yeah.
lose the fun aspect out of it. So I was looking for something to do.
Yes.
And getting another camera body, $5,000 on a camera body is
Yep. Yeah, it hits. You feel it, huh?
it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
So, is he still here? I don't mean to.
No, he passed away like 2002, 3.
So it's got
around
some
there.
real sentimental value.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So
Do you-
I got his. So he gave me his when he upgraded.
okay.
So I still have his, and I recently actually just found going through the bag. I found old rolls of film that were his.
That's
So I
awesome.
got to see if there's still stuff on them. Or,
You could probably create some cool stuff if there's any
Yeah.
that left over. Do you have to maintain them too? Like you upkeep with the maintenance on them, or like?
we'll find out.
To be continued.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll find
Fair
out.
enough. We'll
I had
leave
the
it right
first roll.
there.
I'm like 5 or 6 photos into the first roll of film through it. So
All right.
we'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm excited to actually see now that I know I'm going to be looking at your page to see
Yeah.
what you come up with.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you started Worcester Wheels,
I
or
don't wanna
did you
say- I
start
don't
it
wanna say
together?
we really started it together. Like,
Okay. How long have you guys been cool? How long have you guys been?
When did we
boys?
go to Bike Week?
2007.
2007. Like, so we knew each other vaguely from MySpace. Shout out old people.
Wow. Okay.
So like we knew who each other were. Like I grew up in Charlton. He grew up in Oxford. We had an open spot for some people to go to Bike Week, and Sean rode, I rode, and we're like, "You want to go?" And he was like, "Yup." And we kind of been friends ever since.
That's awesome. Were you into media back then? Did you shoot at Bike Week or?
No. So that was just a drunken debauchery.
Oh, okay.
shit show.
Got it. All right. Yeah.
The stories of that trip. We still
bet.
talk about it
I
because it's
bet.
like
We were young and dumb.
Which
remember
Bike
that?
Week?
Daytona.
Daytona.
Oh, so it was a trip.
Oh yeah.
It's like, remember that time we set the road on fire? Yeah.
That kind of bullshit.
Oh,
Okay.
dude,
All right.
dude, there was this real quick. There's a kid on like an R6 or something, shit faced, dumps his bike in the road. The
He's just
gas,
not tall enough, so he's doing the
his feet,
looking for the round thing
and, like,
with a girl on the back.
and like we're like drunk, stumbling around like typical 21-year-olds, and there's just gas pouring out of the thing. And one of the kids that was with us were like, "Dan, you won't set that on fire." And without a skipping a beat, Dan set the puddle of gas on fire, and we're just all like wide-eyed.
It's in the
my
entrance
God.
of a parking lot, like going into a parking lot for a restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was, 12 or 14 feet long fire,
Just flames.
just flames.
Terrible.
Cut the MySpace photo.
At least the what is that, statute of limitations?
Yeah, that's why
It's
I'm
up,
proud.
so
Dude,
yeah, we're good.
The best part about
We're
that
good.
whole thing is like 2 Harleys come ripping up, and they're firefighters. And instead of saddlebags, they have fire extinguishers.
What?
No bullshit.
Yeah.
They get out and start putting the thing out, and they're like, "What happened?" And like the 7 of us drunkenly babble. There was a guy, and there were sparks and gas and making up stuff.
Yeah, they probably knew.
But, like,
That trip was me and Ron every day when we went drinking.
Yeah.
Because we were there for a little over a week. So like when we went drinking, that trip was a 750 and a 4-pack of Red Bull. I got vodka, he got Jaeger, and that was our pregame at the hotel before we went out.
Yikes.
It was
Yikes.
a trip.
So you guys got some history together.
So we solididied our friendship.
Yeah.
with stupidity. But like
Ron was
know,
doing the worm on the dance floor a handful of times.
I can't even picture you doing that now.
dude, I'd break something, throw my hip out or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But like that really solidified our friendship. We've been really close ever since. He was a groomsman in my wedding. And just different things like his dad, as I call him dad, like their family at this point.
Yeah.
But so like big picture, we really just wanted something that we could have fun at and something that we didn't have to drive 3 hours to.
Yeah.
So that was really where it all came from. And we just, sit around with your boys and you're like, we got to come up with something. We got to do something.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like, again, like closed door after closed door. Worcester, for whatever reason, had like a weird taste in their mouth about the car scene coming out of COVID. Places where like didn't want to do it, didn't want to deal with it. But Nilu came through for us, and
shout out to Nilu. She's awesome.
Yeah,
she's one of the best.
Yeah, I forget that you guys did the car show over there, or the fashion show over there.
Good people.
Yeah, they're super cool. They're a little weird about like insurance and different things.
Got to protect the business though.
No, I understand. Right? Yeah. I understand, but like there's some things that there's hoops behind the scenes that we have to jump through constantly that no one knows. Setting up events. Yeah. Everyone thinks like, oh, there's a coffee shop in a parking lot, you're all set. It's not the case. No. The amount of hand holding we have to do to get people to park. I don't know why you guys can't back up. It's always a thing.
I don't know. Up and matching the angle of the car in front of you.
It's crazy that people in their regular daily lives have no problem parking, but then when you go to a car event, they forget as soon as they come in through the entrance, they forget what to do.
My favorite thing at every single event. So we have like that area with like the cobblestone and the fountain, and that's usually like Sean's gig. Like we push that to him, he sets it up for photos, so it just looks good on camera. And garage doors opening.
Yeah, someone's coming in to shoot all of us right now. Let's see who it is. Maybe it might be Terrence. Maybe it'll see this. That's one of the cool things about this place is like.
Dude, I hope it's that C5 guy. I want to talk.
I know,
to him.
right? Yeah,
giant turbos hanging off of that bitch.
No clue who this is.
Yeah,
no idea.
Nice.
But hello. Anyways.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's cool.
But yeah, last pod we were here. There was like people all through here, working, and you'll hear stuff in the background sometimes. But I think it kind of adds to the podcast a little bit, right?
I think it just speaks for the space, right?
Right.
Like you guys are, this place is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
shout
sweet.
out Abe's.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I wanted to have you guys hosted any other events because the success. This is going to sound like I'm glazing right now, but the success of Worcester Wheels it's evident, right? Yeah. But like a lot of people don't have that success on their first venture.
For sure.
So, yeah. I mean, I have history in hosting events in the motorcycle world.
Okay.
So I've hosted, Hot Bike Epic Sardana Day and a bunch of Harley events and stuff. I used to run a custom motorcycle shop for like 8 years.
Oh, sweet.
So I ran all the events and did all that kind of stuff for that side of things.
Okay. So a little bit of history.
Yeah.
How did that help? What about you?
So I have nightlife. We worked for redcarpetworcester.com a long time ago. If you ever went to Irish Times and hung out with a Jersey Shore cast member, that was us.
Okay.
We did all sorts of dumb stuff back then, but it just gave me a lens into it. I honestly treat it as this is what I would want to go to. Mm-hmm. And that's the lens I operate out of all the time. Yep. Last year we had planned to do a car show at night. We had everything in place and it got rained out. Yeah. So we canceled because it was
like we rented 20 uplights to light all the buildings and it was going to be cool.
That's sick.
Yeah.
At the same location?
Yeah.
Oh, that would
so
be
like
sweet.
with the string lights, all the uplighting on the brick, like we had it, it was going to be sick.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it rained for 3 days straight and we're like, cool. Mm-hmm. And then it doesn't like, you know how it is once you have everything in place and then they're like, okay, rain date, it just doesn't work all the time.
I know. It's tough.
So
we
that was
ran
tough.
into that with the collective this year almost.
Yeah.
It was just behind the scenes. It was like so much BS just for rain. It's like,
yeah.
Ugh.
And every event I've ever thrown, there's no rain date. There's too much planning into this. There's too much shit up front that you guys don't see that like you can't go back on and change a date. It's not that
tough.
easy.
Yeah, especially when you get like vendors and other things in place that are like filling their calendar. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that we've been fortunate with is like the local. And that's the other reason why I think we've grown is that we use like local TCS that are like, Sean's first introduction to Seamus was at our Cars and Coffee event, right? Like we've both grown from that and the ability to have that. We've got a couple people that are always wanting to be part of it because it's like it gets their business's name out there. Yep. It gets them in front of other people and they share it with their social media. So it's been good for us that other people want to be involved because we've created like that safe space. But we had plans to do a car show this year. The construction taking place at Nilu's spot, kind of. So we were told that wasn't going to happen until 2025. And then all of a sudden, there's a fence up and half the courtyard's gone, and we're like scrambling. Yeah. So we may do this year. You know, I know there's some challenges they're going through over there. Probably be like that for next year, but we have something in the pipeline. We made the right contacts this year. That if it goes down, it's going to be probably one of the cooler things that happened in Worcester in a long time.
Let's go.
So
I'm here for it.
So we'll leak that to you after, but
okay, cool.
You kids, you'll appreciate it.
You gotta hold some of it. There's been podcast episodes where I say too much and I'm like, fuck, someone's gonna take my idea now. But you know,
I'm not worried about the idea. Take it. Like I'm worried about losing the spot.
Yeah,
like
totally
the
understand
spot
that too.
we have figured out. We got the people's contacts, the owners, the people. Like he's into it. Yeah. So like
it's a bigger spot than you would think, and for the guy to be like, I want to do it because I have a Ferrari and I want to bring it out.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
We're like, yes,
nice reason, right? Yeah,
yeah.
You know?
Well, whatever you guys need if you guys need anything from us, just let me know.
Once that gets, so like we were talking about on the way out here, and we're like, that's like a March, early April, hopefully have it in June kind of thing.
Yep.
And if it happens, it'll be cool. Sweet. It'll be real cool. And that's one thing cool about Worcester is like once they find out you're trying to do something, they're super supportive. Yeah. Like
Worcester reminds me, not to cut you off, Worcester reminds me of Providence in a way where so for example, when we used to host the collective in Boston went through this phase where like they were very open to working with people on stuff, and all of a sudden after COVID it got so stuffy again. They don't want to work with anybody, and it's just so hard now. And Worcester is one of those like cities that's revitalizing, and it's revitalizing with a lot of like culture, a lot of younger influence, I would say, right? And so the whole area is just open to like things that are not old, boring, excuse my language, white guy things. So they're really open to like doing like new ideas, fresh ideas. And Providence is like that. Fall River is like that too. Where we used to have our office in Fall River, and that whole city is open to working with people on anything. And it's really, really cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, we like, I'm sure we'll touch on it in a bit, but like we do our toy drive, and like last year Mayor Petty came down for the toy drive.
Awesome.
We have like the Worcester like as a whole like supports Nilu in different events.
Yep.
So they come down and they check that out, and they've walked through, and the TNG's taking photos. We've been in the newspaper. I know not everyone reads that anymore, but it's still like it says something. It's
important. Yeah.
And then when we reached out about the event, like. I can't. Jessica emails me like every 2 weeks, like, "Hey, just want to check in if you want to do something again." Just because we reached out to say, "Hey, who owns this space? We were interested in it. Like, how can we make it happen?" And they were like, "We don't own that, but we have all these other spaces if you want to use them." Right?
When you build up that trust.
So like that's the thing. Like helpful. Even if we don't get, we have the space, so like we just gotta make everything align, but. As long as if that alignment falls through, we have backups because Worcester is supportive of what we do.
Yeah, so awesome. Back in 2000, they've been a supporter for that kind of stuff for a while.
Okay.
As long as you do it right.
Right. Yes.
Right? Like if you're just in a parking lot and didn't tell anyone,
that's a problem.
You get kicked out.
Yep.
But if you do it right, they're like, we'll close down streets, we'll do whatever. I had the city of Worcester cool with doing a motorcycle Harley stunt show on the roof of the parking garage behind the Union Station, the train station in center Worcester.
That would be sick.
I went through like 3 meetings. They were all on board until one of the fire guys was like, "Hey, maybe we should rethink this."
Yeah.
Like they're gonna be doing. I don't think the city of Worcester really knew, and I was hoping that was the case.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Someone was just like, "Hey, that can't happen."
Something. Yeah. I understand it, but like the fact that they're even listening to the ideas just shows it speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah, and there's just been so much growth in the city in the last couple of years, with the Polar Park and downtown, like the Mercantile area, like that. It's insane. Like that when we were kids, that was the Worcester Common Outlets. It was a mall. So it's like that road used to be the mall.
Yeah.
So
it's coming from this side of the state. I'm not in Worcester often. So when I am in Worcester, when I was younger, I used to not like Worcester. It was not a very likable city. But now every time I go to Worcester, I'm like, oh, they're doing more and more and more and more. And you can see it just like being not there. Every time I go there, you see new stuff and there's new artwork everywhere, which is so sick. It's so cool.
That's all Powwow Worcester.
Yeah. That actually stopped this year because the cost of maintaining them is like going through the roof.
Yeah.
But like, so like we ride around city on Moto Compactos and we're like finding new art all the time.
Yeah, so cool.
There's like 62 murals, I think it is. Yeah. Like all over the city. Like places you wouldn't even expect, and then you come around the corner and you're like, boom. Oh, what's up with that?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's awesome.
There's like they did some wild stuff. Like where's that 3D one?
The one with the 3D glasses?
Yeah.
That's over on the backside of Hanover Theater.
Yeah, so there's one on the backside of Hanover Theater that, like, when you look at it, it's like red and blue and white. But if you use like old school 3D glasses, it's like eating your face.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So if you look through the blue, it shows that it's like two people kissing, and the red and blue is you can see their full face.
I think I've seen this online.
And then you see the skulls.
Yeah, I think I've seen this online. Yeah.
So that requires you to have 3D glasses to see this stuff. So someone in the city actually does another art installation on the fence where they built out like a pair of 3D glasses like this big, and it's permanently mounted, so you can go and look through and view the art.
Awesome.
Another artist came in and did that.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So cool. We need more of that. We need so much more of that. All right. I got to take a quick second to shout out Abe's Garage for hosting us and being our first official podcast sponsor. Abe's is the only place on the South Shore where you can build, maintain, and store your project cars. With professional two-post lifts, air tools, and just about anything you need to get the job done, it's where you'll find people who love cars, car culture, and the community as a whole. Abe's Garage is the professional garage where you're the mechanic. Check them out at abesgarage.com, on Facebook, and Instagram at Abe's Garage Insta. So talk me through the first event. What did that look like?
40 minutes of sleep.
I mean, that's on the regular now, I think.
Yeah. No, I've gotten better.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I've gotten better.
Did you guys get anxiety before?
Dude, we were texting each other 3 a.m. going, I hope people show up. And like, honestly, our first event was wild. Like, it was like cool thing after cool thing after cool thing. And like, we were in a panic of like, where do we park people? Like, how do we do this? Because we were like, I hope we get like 20, 25 cars. That'll be easy, manageable.
Yeah.
Fill the courtyard.
Good for a start.
Yeah.
Good photos. And we got like 120. And we're like, where do we put people? People came from New Hampshire. People came from all over. Yeah, but I attribute that to Sean's media. You know, we have some friends with some cool stuff. Provost and Bren came out with their R8 and his cappuccino. We took cool photos beforehand.
Yep.
We put all that stuff out there that like people were like, oh, there's gonna be cool stuff here. And we've been able to maintain that momentum. You know, our summer shows, it's wild. Like, I don't get to take it in, and it frustrates me. But like this year, there was a R34 and a RS2.
I think you sent me pictures of it.
I'm like, I don't get to appreciate how rare and wild this is. That R34 is like one of 58 in red. The R32, there's only so many even in existence anymore, and like they're just hanging out,
just chilling.
And like you're like, how do we not? It gets me. It gets me that like I can't take that in sometimes.
Well, as the host, you can't, right?
Yeah.
But I also feel. I mean, you guys have to feel this at some level that we're like desensitized a little bit.
Oh,
do you guys feel that?
Oh, for sure.
Right. I just and don't get me wrong. I love cars. I love cars. Like maybe I should be careful here. I was going to say after my son, but if Whitney listens to this, she'll probably kick my ass. Let's just put it this way. I love cars a lot. And, but still like, I used to get excited over seeing like an Evo back in the day.
I still get excited over seeing an Evo.
I still love them. Yeah. But it's
tough.
Doesn't hit
for me too. I work at Taylor Chassis Solutions. So like we get so desensitized. We've actually talked about it because it's like, what people would normally just be like, fucking holy shit, this thing's here.
Yeah.
We see it every day.
Yep.
You know, we've got 3 or 4 FDRX7s in the shop right now. We've got the 2 rarest Mark IV Supras, the Indy Pace Car Supras. There's 5 of them in the world. We have the 2 turbo manuals. Toyota doesn't have a turbo manual in the museum.
That's crazy.
Like this is just
it's another day at work.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, I still get excited. I think that's why I'm so anti supercar, because they're just boring to me. I think in order for me to be excited by a car now, it has to be modified. If I see a stock car, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I hate on Ferraris for that reason, right? Like they're cool. Like you see an SF90 pull up, you're like, God damn, that thing's gorgeous.
They're boring though.
But they're like, oh, I can't change my wheels because Ferrari won't change my oil.
So
like
crazy.
You're like, it just doesn't do it for me. Like it's cool to see, and like I love the dude at Lundgren that has that Enzo that he just beats the shit out of and just drives it everywhere. It's signed by a bunch of people. The splitter's cracked. I would rather look at that than any new Aperta,
100%.
whatever thing that comes out,
yeah.
just because he uses it and he enjoys it. But I mean, I go both ways with the supercar thing. I've been to some supercar events that are really fun and really good people. They're like car people that just kept upgrading life, and they got to a point where they got that cool car. And those are the people I appreciate. When you start telling me about your like, it's one of one because it's got leather vents on the dash, or it's, whatever weird silly spec, like it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Like I'm like, it's a cool car, man. Just say it's a cool car. And I hate people. I hate this. I don't care if I get hate for this. If you get a car and tell me the sticker price of your car, I am not listening to anything else you say.
Nothing.
Right? Like I don't care. There's a dude that comes to our car's coffee and he's got an X5M and it's gorgeous. But first thing he says to people, oh, it's a $120,000 sticker car. Don't care. Like, just enjoy it, man.
Matter.
Like, what's that matter? Like,
it's not going to be that in a few years. Like, it
like,
doesn't matter.
Nothing depreciates like a new car. And it's like, so what's it matter? But like this year, we had a kid that showed up with an original AC Cobra Shelby. Like, old, like, it's like a $1.1 million car on wire wheels. And it's tucked in the corner, and everyone's like, oh, shit. Like,
that's nuts.
And no one even pays attention to it. But like, you got that guy who's like flexing over his $100,000 Beamer. As a Beamer guy, now it's like, calm down. You know?
I struggle too with. I struggle a lot with. I want to. Where this happens on the podcast. We start like just taking a right turn somewhere. But okay. And there's no hate on Beamer guys, but
you can hate.
Okay, thank you. I will. You guys know me very well. I will hate on some stuff. But the culture now, the young culture. Were we talking about this the other day about horsepower?
We're spoiled fucking rotten.
Yes,
dude. So my X3M, it's like email and a downpipe, and I'm making 750 wheel running low tens.
Yeah,
right.
But the problem
running
is,
low tens, like that was the $30,000 build 10 years ago.
Yes, legit. Right? Yeah, but the problem is, the kids nowadays. Was this on the last pod with you or? But so not to be repetitive, but these kids look at these cars and they say like, oh, like a 700 horsepower car is not that fast. What the fuck are you talking about? This is how you know that they are not in these cars, and they're not real car enthusiasts. They're kids that just want to go fast, right?
Yeah.
A 300 horsepower Civic could eat a lot of the newer, heavier cars. Maybe not 700 horsepower, but 300 horsepower in a fucking little gutted Civic is a lot of power.
Yeah.
But these kids just see
everything.
Exactly. But these kids just see these cars and they're like, if it doesn't have more than 600, like what am I driving that for? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So I am of the camp of, if you can 60 the 130 in your quarter mile, it's a fast car.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like that's my line, right? I know everyone has their own opinion of what's a fast car. That's where I draw the line. If you 60 the 130 in the quarter, your mile an hours in the 130s, you're doing a low 10, it's legit, right? Like, we're spoiled rotten with what's available to us technology wise. The thing that's a challenge, I think, is that the cost of entry is high, but the cost of fucking up is high, right? Like, I throw a rod out the side of my S58, it's a $10,000 used motor at best, or a $20,000 build, right?
I think that's what
the kids don't get, because they're going to buy it on a firm to fix it.
Fucking Affirm, bro. Oh man, yeah. Someone's got to put something about Affirm and something else on a T-shirt and just rub everybody the wrong way. I heard that. That was crazy. What was that? The chair?
Yeah.
Sound like we got someone hostage in here.
We need to like do a Beast Coast a firm font shirt.
Something, bro. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Can I get one of those?
Yeah, which one?
Don't color. Any color.
There you go.
Thank you.
What flavor is that?
Watermelon. Want one?
No, I'm good. I don't drink. I know they're just, what are they, fucking 5%?
Yeah, tequila things. No White Claws.
Yeah.
4.5%.
Yeah, I figured. So
That sounded cool.
Yeah, right. It did. It had a little snap to it. So Sean, I kind of want to get into some of your side of things because I'm a little bit of a media guy, right? I'm a little semi-retired, but you put out some really cool shit. So, yeah, of course. What do you do for your day job essentially? Like as far as media goes, we'll start there.
So working for Taylor Chassis Solutions, we met up. He sponsored one of our events.
Yep.
And we met up, and he's friends with a bunch of YouTubers and stuff. So they've all been suggesting like you should start one. He's brilliant. He's a very smart dude, and can share a lot of knowledge. He's cool being on camera, and it all just checks out. So like when we started talking, started taking over. We did our first video, and then having history in a custom shop world, I also made it easier to bring me on and do media stuff because I can also help manage the shop as well.
Okay.
So that's what I do for a day job.
How do you like it?
It's awesome.
So what does a day look like for you? Are you managing the shop mainly and then shooting content, or are you shooting stuff and then managing?
So right now it's managing the shop. There's a lot of things going on.
Yep.
This summer was a tough summer for the shop. One of our guys had a kid, so going on maternity leave and stuff like that.
Yep.
Or paternity leave.
Yeah.
But,
same thing.
We're a small shop. We got we have three full-time techs, including Seamus, who owns the shop.
Okay.
And then we have a guy that's part-time, a younger kid that's very, very smart and knows what he's doing. But he's part-time right now because his family also owns a business. He drives down to the shop from Derry, New Hampshire, to Millbury.
That's a troop.
So he'll stay with
every
someone
day.
Locally. So he stays with someone locally for 3 days.
Okay.
So he'll drive down Monday morning, drive home Wednesday night, and he's just working at the shop. He's also will stay at the shop because of that until 7, 8 o'clock at night and just get shit done, which is cool.
Yeah, it's respectable. It's part of the grind, right?
Yeah. So we want to focus more towards me going more media stuff and be more consistent. It's gotten good results so far.
Yeah.
So we want to push on it. And then
because you guys just broke 25,000 subs or something
Let's go.
on YouTube, right? So they're growing. It's awesome.
That's sick.
I just got back from Ireland. We went to LZ World Tour.
I saw your post.
Yeah.
How was that?
Videos. It was dope.
Yeah.
It was sick. Yeah.
What was that trip like? Like, what did you do? Like, what was, from getting there? What was, were you media backstage? Like, not backstage, what I'm saying? Like,
so I had a media pass, so I was on track.
Yeah.
And then, so like when you get there, we flew in. We knew, you don't want to fly in the day of the event or the night before or whatever. And then we had friends that are driving, so we wanted to be there to just be there and hang out. Seamus ended up bringing his wife and kids, and stayed for a trip afterwards, and like more of a vacation afterwards and everything. So, I was there Thursday through Monday.
Sick.
So we had some good time. Got to hang out in some sheds. That's what they call garages.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just there's stuff buried that you would never expect in these little tiny garages in the back of someone's house.
Yep. I saw a video. You guys might know what I'm talking about, but there was a video of this. I don't exactly remember the all of it, but their car culture is similar to ours, but like
it's way bigger.
Is it?
Way
I've
bigger.
heard. I actually, speaking of that, our photographer, Dom, Dominic, he went to Ireland. Before I get into this other story, but he went to Ireland and he said the cars over there are nuts.
Yeah. So they've always had the JDM stuff that we've always wanted. They've had it, right? And then I would feel like the percentage of people that are into cars versus the regular normie people is much higher over there.
Interesting. So there's more people on a bit, on a scale, the percentage is higher that they're into cars. Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah. He told me, he was like, there's like some crazy ass cars out here. He said there's a wild show out there that he was like a day or two late for when he got there. He wanted to go so bad. Yeah. But, yeah, because it's weird though, because how often do we ever hear about anything out of Ireland. It's usually the United States, Japan,
England's
yeah.
got some stuff,
right? Maybe some like Poland has a huge community, and then like Jakarta, maybe like they have some cool stuff down there. But other than that,
hotspots all over the place.
Yeah.
Ireland's a very small place, and I believe Mondello Park is the only track.
Really?
So there's one place for you to go. It's cool. It's an awesome place. But when they pull up, like you've got like LZ World Tour was filled with a bunch of their professional drifters and their top name people. So you're pulling up and you get the Red Bull rig, and their rigs are sick. Everything is just top level.
Does it feel real grassroots still in a way though? Because it's because the country is so small and it still feels kind of grassroots.
Yeah, for sure. Like their pits and stuff is, they've got garaged pits that like in a pit lane, and it's a real race course.
That's sick.
Where Thompson's pits are kind of, there's a pit building inside.
Right. Yeah.
The pits are on the track,
like a circuit, like a legitimate
like any
circuit.
Normal circuit. Yeah. So like it's cool to see that, but then when you go out to the other side of things and you're in the back areas and stuff like that, like it's grassroots.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I gotta take a trip out there. I really want to go to England anyways.
Goodwood.
But I know so I might as well.
Oh
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
did you go too?
No, just him. I wanted to go, but I couldn't go.
Dude, it's
sick.
The one thing that people do not understand is the roads are as wide as you and I together. Like
that's a good width though,
dude,
my man.
Dude, it's girthy, but when you're in a car,
Paul's on girthy though.
but when you're in a car, sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, like it's like road, shrubs, and there's like carved out C's in the bushes from everyone's mirrors to keep from hitting each other. And dude, like everyone does, like they're flying all the locals, but like when you look at it on a map, you're like, oh, it's 7 miles to Goodwood. This will be a perfect Airbnb. That 7 miles takes 40 minutes because it's like country bumpkin cart paths.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I was expecting when I went to England. I was like, maybe these roads, like in my head, it's like ahead of us. It's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It is not. It is like the middle of nowhere. And
there's still thatched roofs in Ireland.
Yeah. That's the same with England.
Yeah.
Our Airbnb had a thatched roof.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The roof is grass.
I've seen videos of people like doing it. It's one of those stupid like you get sucked in the water.
ASMR. Yeah. But that was just like a wild thing, and that was like a weird thing for me to be exposed to that like European car culture because like it was weird to go to like a huge world known event and not see a single Corvette. The only Corvette, there was the rotary drift car.
Yeah.
That
I
forget who drives it, but that was there to do burnouts, not to be in the parking lot.
It's the only Corvette at the LZ World Tour too.
And they can get them there. They're just not popular.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you'd want one.
Right? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I.
With the width of a Vet and the roads that are there,
it doesn't make sense.
One.
Yeah,
but in the same sense, they have Aston Martin Vantages everywhere. It was
right. That makes sense too.
Vintage. I'm like, I want one.
Yeah, they're sick.
Trying to get my James Bond on,
Yeah, of course.
And seeing those small roads, like in Ireland, I don't know about England, but in Ireland, those small roads, you're literally like, this is the edge of the road, and the bushes are that tall.
Yes.
So there's nowhere to pull. If someone's walking down the street, you're gonna hit them.
That's like, so crazy.
Yeah.
And the speed limit's 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We take the space we have in this country for granted.
Dude, you could not drive a pickup truck like a normal, there's an old Cop Gear episode where Clarkson has a Lightning and he's trying to like drive it around. And I thought it was like bullshit. No, it's legit.
That's so crazy.
Like their roads are tiny.
Is there no opportunity to widen them a little bit?
Well, they've just never needed to.
That's so weird to me.
If I moved to
England, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. If I moved to England, I'd buy one of those like Fiat Braths.
Yeah, just tool around that
just
thing
do
all
burnouts.
day. Yeah. Do you guys know Function Automotive?
Yeah.
They have a Barth in there. They bought it up. There was a Ferrari shop in the same industrial park that they're in, and apparently the guy is just like he's getting old, and he's starting to offload some of their stuff. So they sold him a Barth race car, and Chris, who's one of the owners, he's got to be like 6'4", and I haven't seen him in it yet, but I'm dying to see him tooling around like Thompson in this fucking Abarth.
Into it.
It's got like a martini livery on it too. It's cool. It's a cool car, but every time I think about Chris being in that car, I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's just no way. 6'4". Yeah, no.
So let me put it back on you.
Sure.
You did the Rawwelt build.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of shade being thrown at him with his caulking gun and tape. And how do you feel about all that?
So that's a great question. So it's popular for a reason, right? There's a reason why there's so many people doing them, because they're not cheap. I'm sure it's at least 60 grand.
I think that body gets 30 or 40 grand.
Right. Yeah. So if there's still a market for it, there's a reason. They look good. From what I see, the cars run good. And the thing that's hard to explain, right, is, and I hate to say this, but you had to be there to like experience it. For me, the experience was just like, it was like watching an artist live, no matter how we view the quality of it. It's like watching an artist do what they do live. So it was really cool. It's fine. It was just like, I guess, who's that famous, like, I think he's in the UK. He's a graffiti artist.
Banksy?
Yeah. It's kind of like, remember when he shredded that painting
live? The auction at
Sotheby's? Yeah. It's one of those things that's just, I don't know. It's just like you had to be there in the morning because you could see it online or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of like why I'm asking, right? Because like I've never had the opportunity to have that experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it actually like a hack together P-car, or is it actually like a cool thing?
See,
right? And like I say hacked because, and I mean off mic, Gio kind of filled us in on some of the stuff, because it's like you don't see him using like body filler and sealer and doing the correct auto body repairs to what he's doing.
Yes.
So like that's kind of where my question was coming from, because from an outside perspective, it looks like lick and stick.
Yeah, it's technically not what someone who has a Porsche, what you would think that how they would build a car, for sure. Yeah. Right? It's definitely out of the ordinary for what someone with a Porsche would do, but I just look at it as an art. And if you look at it as an art, then you really don't care how it's done.
Yeah.
No, okay. I'm not saying it's done correctly, and I'm not saying they're going to look great in 20 years. But
I'll give you that. I guess for me, like, I'm big on functionality, and when I see that car, I'm like, I can run a 14-inch wide rear wheel, and like all the cool factors that it adds to the actual driving and the fun of that car. And I just wonder if there's a balance between the two, and it sounds like there is.
You also have to remember, it's not a one-person thing. So, like, that car coming together was the owner, the body shop, Bootsy Gear, and Nakai-san. And so it's each one of them is like a group project. So like we got to talk to the guys from the body shop and all the work they did that went into it. We know that like Bootsy Gear made an executive decision on the car about the rear wing. And then Nakai came in and he did what he did with his style, his build, RWB, the whole RWB thing. Now, the whole thing there, I will say, was corny, is like the car spotter thing where like watching it live is kind of corny. Like it's weird, right? But I was part of that, so that includes
watching
me.
that from the outside,
nerd,
like 40,
right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, but like 40 dudes rolling just to hang out watching someone work on a car.
It's odd. It's very odd. But I will say the unique experience that we got was that we got Gio, what would you say, 2 to 3 hours with him, with Justin afterwards? Yeah. We got to take that car out, not drive it, but Gio was actually in the car with Justin, and it was a fantastic. It was seeing it in person. It's actually really fucking well done, and I don't know how to explain it, because what you see on the internet is the hack stuff, but when you see that car in person, and then when he got to experience being in that car on its first drive out of the shop, and then when we got to do our media side of it, we just had that car in, we took it through Connecticut. I forget the exact town, but we were somewhere in Connecticut, and we brought it to, I think, two different locations, or one different location to shoot. and this is something you can definitely appreciate. It's like you see something that someone put their hands on, put their craft into it, no matter how you look at it. But the car was flawless. It was perfect. In its final form, it was perfect. The process wasn't pretty, right? But in its final form, it was perfect. And all the people that were involved there that got to be a part of it, whether you're a media or a builder or the body shop or whatever, that seeing it all come together and having that short period where we were all together and we could appreciate the final product, and then seeing it, it's unbelievable. Like looking at those cars in person, they're really, really fucking cool.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. And that's why I asked, because I think they're like one of the cooler things that happen.
Yeah.
I think like the scene, like, 7-8 years ago, over fenders were the rage.
Yeah.
And like everyone was buying crap off Amazon and slapping it on their car. And I think it took away from the wide body actual builds that take place.
Yeah. I think one thing we have to remember too, and this just occurred to me listening to you, is anybody can go get a mass produced wide body from anywhere and slap it on and have your body shop slap it on. Mm-hmm. This is something, and again, this goes back kind of to the clout thing, but if you think of it in its purest form, this is a guy who created this, designed this, and he is doing it himself. He's not mass producing it. He's not, he may be mass producing it as far as like for himself, but you can't just go on a firm, back to bringing a firm back. You can't go on a firm and just get an RWB kit and slap it on the car.
Gonna have to check that.
So
can we get a fact check on that, Gio?
You can, from what I think you can build one without him for sure.
They have their own body shops that are approved.
Exactly. Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we don't see a lot of them, right? Like it's still an artisanal thing in a way, and I think that holds value as well.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Yep.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the art part of it.
There's also another side of it is like, if that guy's been cutting fenders like that for 20 years. Plus.
Yeah.
Like you get pretty good at that.
Yeah, he knows what the fuck he's doing for sure. Like I said, it's not always pretty, and maybe in his age he's not
slid a little bit.
Yeah, right? Like maybe he slid a little bit, but he's a genuinely really nice guy. Mm-hmm. His English is a lot better than I thought it would be. And the experience, I know for myself, is cool, and I'm sure the owners of those cars, there's like a, I don't know, maybe like a little brotherhood between them, you know. So
that's cool.
Yeah, but that's a great question. Sorry, it took me this way all around to get there, but there's like a lot to it. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool opportunity that not a lot of people get, right?
Yeah,
and it's something in the automotive scene that, like, again, like it's easy to throw hate at.
Yep.
And right now there's a lot of it because, like, you see them taping on that thing and spray painting sidewalls. Yep. So it's like you've seen it happen. Mm-hmm. How does that actually go together?
I think and this is one of those things that's annoying to say, but like legitimately, I know at least in my heart that if you go and see one done live, if you're a hater, you'll come out with a new respect and new understanding. Doesn't mean you have to like them, but seeing it live, you come out with like a different understanding than it's almost like this sounds so corny, but it's almost like going to like some beautiful mountain range area and seeing it for the first time versus seeing it online. You don't really understand it until you see it for real for yourself. So
you're right, that was corny.
It was super corny, but it's the only other thing it's the only way I could. What'd you say, Gio?
You can't get it via a firm.
Can't.
You can't? Okay, yeah. So we've verified you cannot buy RWB a kit.
Thank you for fact checking that.
Thank you. But yeah, so back to Worcester Wheels and Coffee. So this is you guys' baby. It's growing. It's really cool. I still have yet to see. This is another thing. I have not experienced it in person yet.
We noticed.
Yeah, okay, I know.
Don't worry, bro. I'm coming through. But shout out LaShawn. LaShawn shows up all the time.
Yeah,
even if it's
he lives right up the street.
Even if it's even on a bicycle, he comes down.
Typical LaShawn. Yeah.
You know, and he's become like a staple at him.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get his perspective because he has like a different view. Like when it comes to media, it's like Sean and I always trust, and then to get LaShawn's like take on some things sometimes is cool. Just because it's like I feel like we're an echo chamber to each other.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So so to hear someone on the outside and talk shop with them, I can't tell you how many events, we end up in the parking lot an hour after everyone's gone, just bullshitting.
Just talking, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
he's an awesome dude. And I think you two complement each other together. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think you're seeing you guys. I think you guys should work together more. If there's any opportunities for that, I think you and LaShawn would do good to.
I would love that.
To work together, yeah, it would be fucking awesome.
Well, I've actually had to talk with him about, you know, if I can grow a media company big enough to have a team, is involving him.
Yeah, he deserves it for sure. So Toy Drive's coming up, and this is the second one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk me through like what made you guys decide to do it. Obviously, besides just trying to help out, but like what's the idea behind it?
The Toy Drive is really Ron's baby.
Okay.
You know,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
very much so.
So for me, I grew up poor. My family, it's hard for me not to get emotional talk about this shit at times. My family benefited from the kindness of others on several occasions.
Yeah.
There were Christmases that we wouldn't have had if there wasn't a Christmas of other people, right? Doing something nice. So I've really wanted to put a toy drive together for probably the last 10 years. Blake and Tom from Dust Off do a great one down in Newport for the Pell School. And they're friends and they're friendly. And Tom said to me, I was like, I'd love to do this. And he was like, it's hard. You got to find someone who is willing with open arms to take it and do the hard work behind it. Yep. He's like, getting people to donate toys for kids, usually pretty easy. He's like, getting people to make sure they go where they need to go. That's the hard part. And we bounced around. I tried different schools locally, different things, and everyone was like, nope, no thanks. We don't have the time. We don't have the bandwidth.
That's crazy.
And it's like a weird thing to hear because like you would think, you know, guidance counselor, et cetera, would be able to bridge that gap, and they couldn't do it. So when I started talking to Nilu about doing the Cars and Coffees, I was like, I really want to do a toy drive. And she was like, the CASA Foundation is in our building. And I was like, what's the CASA Foundation? And CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. So they are essentially like a big brother, big sister.
Oh, sweet.
For kids who are in the foster system for the state. Okay. So these kids are all wards of the state. They don't have a mom or dad or a person to speak on their behalf at court. So they're pretty alone in the world. So the advocates befriend them, become friends, become role models for them. And I just don't think there's a better cause. So last year we absolutely killed it. We got a couple people to show up and show out, and we probably raised about $10,000 worth of toys for the kids.
Wow.
And the cool thing about what we do is everything we do goes directly to the kids. Mm-hmm. Like there is no in between. There is no like not throwing cloud of toys for toss, but like they give each kid one toy and the rest of the toys sit in a warehouse till next year. Right? Everything that's donated through our toy drive will be given to the kids this year to make sure they have a happy holiday season. Mm-hmm. And that's important to me. Yeah. And it's a big deal to me.
Like to the awesome. Point where like the kids make an Amazon wish list, and if you can't make it, you can buy stuff on the Amazon wish list and it goes directly.
Yeah. So they do.
Perfect.
So they do basically like letters to Santa. Yep. And all the advocates take the letters to Santa, turn it into the wish list. So it's literally what the kids are asking for. Like, so
what
like
a smart way to do it.
Yeah, to kill it. But like again, like you could buy the stuff off the wish list and like go shop local if that's your thing and you want to do it. You can still do that and show up day of. So don't think we don't want it either way.
That's awesome.
You know, so, and the hard part too is the group covers kids infant to 18. Right. So like when you're trying to buy toys for kids, I mean, I think we all think, I know at least I do, like I'm thinking like Hot Wheels and you know, board games and things for kids. And then like it gets expensive for teens and preteens. Yeah. You know, we've had some people already donate some awesome stuff, and you know, we got a bunch of Bose stuff for some kids and some other stuff. So people come through for this, you know, and it's a big deal and it's important to me. You know, I know we have a video that will be coming out soon. From last year's toy drive, just so people have an understanding and an idea. We were fortunate last year. A lot of people showed out with cool stuff. Cool cars still show up. I know it's late November and a lot of people got their stuff put away, but I think a lot of people still want that last ride. And, you know, I'll have my wheels on still.
What better way to like celebrate the end of the season, but also do something good for the kids, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You can't miss.
Yeah.
Gio, I think Gio and I will be there. We'll make sure that we make a solid donation too.
Appreciate
we'll figure
that.
it out in the next week or so, and we'll bring some cool stuff.
And like, so we, like, the other part too is like people will send Venmos or different things. Happy to do the shopping.
Yeah,
like
perfect.
Happy to bridge those gaps. Like I filled the X3 last year just because I was like, I hope people show up.
Yeah,
and I kind of went a little overboard. I don't mind doing that again this year because I don't have nieces or nephews anymore. So it's like, let's do it for someone.
It's worth it,
right?
Yeah, it's hearing like your story in the beginning too. It just kind of hit me too. I remember specifically, I was very poor growing up too, so I get it. I remember one year. This is embarrassing, but I'm old enough and like transparent enough. But I remember one year, my mother bringing me to the place that we were getting the donated toys from, and I saw all my Christmas presents beforehand. And so, like, as a kid, that's tough, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that people are still doing it, and I was, as a kid, you're still super excited. It doesn't matter. You're getting toys, right? So I think it's amazing that you guys are doing this. There's not enough people doing it. But it's really cool. And for car enthusiasts, it's like it's an exciting thing to
but
be
it's also like car people to me have always been the most giving. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. They want to show up for the positive cause.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to get together. Terrence and I were talking in the break, like cars and coffee are enthusiasts. They're people that like cars. It's not a matter of what you showed up in,
right,
what your fitment is, what wheels or whatever. It's just people who like cars. And the toy drive brings those people together.
Yeah.
And it allows us to be successful and help a lot of kids. That's
awesome. I'm really looking forward to it now, actually. It's going to be fun. So if people can if people can like send on Venmo or whatever,
they can send Venmo to me, Ron Derderian on Venmo. We can clip to Venmo screenshot. But the big thing is if you go into our Facebook event, or the Eventbrite, the Amazon wish list is posted. All of our contact is there. If you join our Facebook page, we have a Worcester Wheels and Coffee Facebook page. I think we're at like 800 members. Mm-hmm. Like I said, a lot of our people are local, so it's cool to get out to your audience that's more inside of, 128 that's a big deal to us, just to get it out there, because at the end of the day, it's all helping kids that are local.
When's the date?
November 30th.
All right.
We'll be there from 10 to 3.
November 30th, 10 to 3.
It's a lot longer time span than our normal events. And it's later in the
which
day.
Is going to be exciting.
Yeah, so we get, we'll get different cars and different groups that roll throughout the day.
Sweet.
And like we're there all day hanging out. So like we see them all, but it depends on when you get there and what you'll see.
Address?
So 85 Prescott Street in Worcester. So Fuel America is at 100 Grove Street, but 100 Grove Street is the front side of the building. Mm-hmm. 85 Prescott will bring you to the back side. You'll see a Worcester Wheels and Coffee flag up. We basically decorate the fountain into a Christmas tree and place everything around it. If there is a rain date, if it is raining or bad weather, there is an inside conference room that we will take over, and we'll fill that room with toys for the kids, and we'll just keep it rolling.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll be there. It's a really cool thing that you guys are doing. So
appreciate it.
I just, again, not to give you guys too much credit, but watching you guys from, obviously we met just last year, but seeing the events from the outside, I know as an event host that it's hard to get a grasp of what you're doing. But you guys need to know that the event's sick.
Appreciate that.
Even this is coming from someone who hasn't made it out there yet. Like, I see the pictures, I see the media, I see the stuff that comes out. There's some fire cars, and it's not easy to put together an event. It's not easy to put together an event that brings out quality, and you guys do both. And then now doing something for the kids as well. Like, shout out to you guys. So
appreciate that. I think the biggest thing for me has always been just consistency. Mm-hmm. Like, I want every event to just be similar, but also different, right? So that's a hard thing to do. In like behind the scenes stuff, like whether it's us buying like fake burlap to cover the fence so it doesn't look bad, or putting up scrum, or we leaf blowed the parking lot before the first event. Like, we go the extra mile just for the sake of the media coverage, the photos, the videos. So like there isn't that napkin in the corner. We set up our own trash can so people don't make a mess. But I think we take the responsibility of it serious, and that leads to just consistency.
Yeah, it shows for sure. Before we get you guys out of here, what's the plans for next year? Have you guys gotten there yet?
So we're there. I mean, we're going to do it again. We'll do another round of Cars and Coffee events now that I just committed to it. It's hard. It's hard because it's like we do the last Sunday of every month. So like our whole summer is based around it. Yeah. So whether, like Sean was in Ireland for the last one, we figure it out. It's not a big deal. Shout out Jake. Jake is the bearded man behind the scenes that is always down to help, and he's always helping us. And he doesn't want to be this, like he doesn't want, but every event he's there early, helps us set up, helps us break down. His wife and kid are there, so super grateful for them. But next year we'll do the same Cars and Coffee with another toy drive, with the hopes of a summertime car show that puts Worcester car shows a little bit back on the map.
I think you guys need something, like, no disrespect to Electro, who throws Import Evolution, but that's something vibe. Right? Yeah, that's something. But vibe. It's also he's from here, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are from that area. The hometown boys putting something on for Worcester would be fire. So
yeah, that's the goal. That's really what we tried to do this year, and ran into some roadblocks. I feel like I'm running over Sean trying to talk here.
No, not at all. It was like this year we were gonna do it, and it was timing. Like I've organized events, and it's nothing but a shit show if you start organizing too late, and it's just not worth continuing going
Believe
through
me,
at
I
that
know.
point. So we kind of, without even talking about it, really, we're just like, I don't know if this is going to happen this year, but we can have that plan for next year. And we started, before we even started doing Cars and Coffee, like we were like, oh, we can do the Cars and Coffee just to kind of get our feet wet, start doing some shows, some different shit. And then the goal was loosely to do something bigger, but it's like, we don't want to just jump into the biggest,
100%.
The biggest thing we've ever done.
You guys are doing it the right way anyways, for sure. Yeah. So those kind of events, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but the style of that event is like my favorite, because it's, you can go, you enjoy yourself. There's no craziness. It's like, but you get real good quality, like I said, and then you can go home. Mm-hmm. But it's also the kind of thing you don't forget. Like, it's not an event you just go to go. You go because you want to go, and that's what separates a lot of like the local events. Is like, a lot of times people are just like, I don't have anything to do, so I'm going to go to this event.
Right. Yeah.
People look forward to going to.
And I think we've also benefited from not having a lot of drama. Like the people leaving. Yeah, the people might leave spicy and things happen. I mean, the worst, we had a kid clip a curb with an F430, right? Like, a guy bumped his Ferrari. Like, that's the worst thing that's happened.
Yeah.
We suck.
Yeah, right? That's worth
right.
Yeah,
so we've definitely prided ourselves on that fact, and we have like a no tolerance. You want to start revving and doing dumb shit, we're just gonna throw you out.
Yeah.
There's no place for it.
All right, so November 30th, 10 a.m. Fuel America 85 Prescott.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
Damn, I nailed that.
You did.
There's a video online if you're confused about how to get there.
Yeah.
We can link you to that too.
It's an amazing spot, by the way, for anybody who's listening. I mean, we can throw a picture up on the video, but if you're listening, the spot is so cool. The food is great, by the way, at Fuel. Fuel has like really good stuff. So,
and so Nilu, actually, I don't know if it wasn't open when you were there, but she opened a market too. So there's like a full convenience store.
She was telling me about it.
Like, it's got like a lot of like Middle Eastern and international stuff in it. So like they're killing it over there. They're doing good things.
Sweet. So. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you guys coming to chat on the pod, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again. Maybe we'll do one before the start of next year. See what's changed and what the plans are.
Yeah, if we can lock down our event space, we'll be happy to promote that for you guys.
There we go.
Happy to get it out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys at the toy drive.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds good, man.
Thank you guys.
Cool. Do we like throw up the deuces? Like, what do we do?
It'll just fade out.
Bye, Mom. I love you, Mom.